Did you know that God's Learning Channel is available on a wide variety of different platforms? For starters, GLC can be watched in parts of Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Colorado by cable or antenna. GLC is also available to watch on our Galaxy 19 direct-to-home satellite equipment throughout North America with no subscription fees. Great for viewers in rural areas with no internet connection. Our free broadcast and program archives are available via 24/7 web streaming on our website at glctv.tv. For our online friends, GLC Radio and audio podcasts are available for free streaming throughout iTunes, TuneIn, or Shoutcast on your computer or mobile device. Likewise, our YouTube channel contains hundreds of free video clips that you can easily share with your friends and family. You can also watch our live broadcast or program archives of your favorite episodes directly on your television with an affordable subscription-free device called Roku, containing thousands of channels to choose from. We urge our viewers to take advantage of these various ways to watch or listen to GLC, and we ask that you spread the word to your friends and family. We can't continue to grow without your help.
Well, welcome to the Monday President's Day update.
Yes. That's a good start.
It's a very good start. As I watch all these debates of our upcoming president, it really makes you appreciate some of these old timers.
Yes, it does.
You know, Mom was saying before we went on the air that she is like has been really shocked. She was looking up stuff on the presidents today, and she was really shocked at some of the comments that she came across regarding President Abraham Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
So much negativity and blah, blah, blah. And I simply told her that's because people didn't know who he was and what he stood for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people think that the Civil War was over slavery. It wasn't over slavery. It was over states' rights.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because of Abraham Lincoln that this country was not ripped in half, because it very well could have been. We see this happening in the Middle East all the time, you know, and even in Europe, you see it happening, you know, in the divisions and what was once USSR, you know. But Lincoln kept that from happening. And one thing that most people are kind of oblivious to is the fact that when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, the South mourned him.
Yeah.
John Wilkes Booth was not a hero to them.
No.
Because they knew that they needed Abraham Lincoln, especially the president of the Confederacy, Jefferson Davis.
Jefferson Davis.
After they had lost the war, yeah.
He knew that they needed Lincoln for the Reconstruction period to help heal the nation. And the South went through hell for decades.
Yes, they did.
Because Lincoln wasn't there to help them through it. And he
sad
would not
thing.
have allowed the scallywags from the North to go down and
The carpetbaggers.
and to abuse the Southerners the way he did.
Right.
And you know, there's still so much prejudice in the South today.
There is.
And it's been 150 years. So this is what happens when you don't have a really great leader.
That's right. That's right.
You know, my grandfather was 7 years old when the war broke out, Civil War. I often wondered, I'd love to have been able to know something to ask him. What was it like when you were in your 20s and 30s after the war was over?
It was very, very difficult.
May have been why he moved to Oklahoma.
So anyway, Mom did a great job on her devotion today. You'll really like that. And it really does tie to President's Day, because we must have a godly leader, or we are sunk. Good news. It's drawing day. Here's the hat, and I will tell you that the Lord did not tell me this time who it's going to be, so I'm like, I'll be just as surprised as you. This little tiny piece of paper. Monica folds these up into little,
She sprayed
little
somebody
tiny
else.
things. Okay. Lynn Collins from Loving, New Mexico. Well, congratulations, Lynn.
All right.
I hope you enjoyed that book as much as I have.
Me too.
Loving.
Loving, New Mexico. Isn't that a beautiful name for a town?
Yeah.
Dad, you have a great letter.
I do have one. It says, "Hi, for some reason, we cannot get your station anymore." Now, this letter comes from Abilene, so keep that in mind. "We were watching you on Channel 17, Abilene, Do I need to get a special antenna from you? Sure do miss you. And that comes from God Bless from Stephanie. No, Sheila.
Sheila.
Then they were getting us off the air down there. I didn't even realize you could get us off the air down
I
there.
didn't either. This
So-
was great news to me.
So
but,
hopefully she just got the year-end receipt letter, and now
Right.
she knows what has happened.
Right.
well, I'm going to call her a writer tomorrow.
That'd be good.
After your voice comes back.
Do I didn't lose my voice.
Dad was just talking last night, and all of a sudden his voice just went zip. It was gone. It was so. Okay, Mom, how about that devotion?
All right. Well, it's called The Solution is Prophetic, not Political. And it comes from the Daily Jot by Billy Wilson. With the death of the conservative Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, many are fearful for the future of our nation. Certainly, polls indicating that younger Americans prefer socialism to capitalism, and that Christians are trying to find their footing with the presidential race, puts a lot at stake for this nation. At no time in recent history has the value of life, family, and security been so at threat. As a prophetic people living in prophetic times, if faith is placed in political solutions, there will be tremendous disappointment. While we must hold politicians accountable, we also must understand that there is a greater plan that the Lord has for the world, even our nation, and we have an important role to play.
When Jesus arrived in Jerusalem on what became known as Palm Sunday, many believed he was the promised king who would reestablish the kingdom for the Jews. The politicians of the day, by and large, saw him as a threat and plotted to kill him. When the people figured out that he wasn't there to overthrow the government, they were disappointed. In Matthew 24, the disciples asked him, "When shall these things be?" He replied, "First, take heed that no man deceive you." They asked again before his ascension in Acts 1:6, "Lord, will you at this time restore again the kingdom of Israel?" To which he told them, "It is not for you to know, but you shall receive power. After that the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and you shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost parts of the earth."
Neither Trump, nor Clinton, nor Sanders, nor Cruz, nor anyone else elected as president or to the Supreme Court will be able to put right the good ship America. Putting faith and trust in them will only disappoint. The solution to America's problem will not be found in politics. The political landscape will make things better or worse, but the long-term course of our country rests on how we, as a prophetic people, follow the instructions of Christ. His 12 disciples, it was said, turned the world upside down. The Lord sent us the Holy Spirit. We're not to have a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. It's our job to make disciples. If we were doing it well, the condition of our nation would be far better.
No matter what happens in the political realm, we as followers of Christ need to do a better job to show others, not just by our words, but also by our actions, the truth of Christ and how to live in him. We hope we provide information and insight that may be of use to you to persuade someone to listen more intently as you demonstrate your Christianity. The Holy Spirit will do the rest. We need to be mighty men and women of valor. We need to step it up. We need to depart from the self-indulgence of church and religion. We need to be prophetic, not political or pathetic people.
Isn't that the truth?
That's a good one.
Oh, my.
Okay, so last Friday I came across a couple of articles that we're going to share with you today, but under no circumstances were we going to share them with you as we were going into the Shabbat.
No.
Today's news is going to make you scream bloody murder, or it should, because you know what? You're not hearing any of this stuff
Anywhere.
In fact, this first article, the incident happened on January the 25th, and it just hit the news last week, but only like in little small papers and this and that. In fact, Mom discovered it on Facebook.
Online, yeah.
Because of Young Conservative. So I went and I searched and I found several articles. One is from Pamela Geller from Atlas Shrugged, Seattle Times, Peninsula Daily News, a couple of those, and the Young Conservatives. A correctional officer at Callum Bay Correction Center in Washington State suffered a brain injury and injuries to 2 vertebrae after being seriously attacked by an inmate. Corrections officer Terry Breedlove was brutally beaten about the head in the January 25th attack. Investigators say Breedlove was attacked by 28-year-old inmate Abdijin Ibrahim of King County.
Chief Criminal Deputy for the Callum County Sheriff's Office, Brian King, said Ibrahim shouted Allahu Akbar, an Arabic phrase that means Allah is greater, twice, once when he hit the guard and again after the attack. Investigators say Ibrahim had pried a round metal seat off a stool in a cell and repeatedly hit Breedlove over the head with it until other inmates stopped the attack.
The State Department of Corrections had not sent out any public notification about the attack. Corrections spokesman Jeremy Barkley confirmed the report. However, the Department of Corrections would not confirm whether Ibrahim identified as a Muslim. The prison, which holds 900 inmates, went on lockdown after the attack and remained on lockdown until last Monday. Investigators have said security cameras were not working at the time, but have since become operational.
Breedlove, 51, was hospitalized with a brain and spinal cord injury, as well as severe facial lacerations and bruising. He was released from Forks Community Hospital on February 3rd and is recovering at the home of his mother. Breedlove also suffered memory loss during the attack. Chief Criminal Deputy Brian King said Breedlove was on duty in a medium security portion of the prison. It was the inmates who put a stop to it. If they hadn't reported it, who knows how long it would have gone on, he said. King said no correctional officers witnessed the attack, and Breedlove, who has no memory of it, cannot help investigators at this time. Breedlove can stand, but experiences difficulty once standing, said his mother. Wow.
And they can't figure out if he's Muslim.
No. Probably
He actually tried to chop his head off.
Yeah.
That's actually what happened.
That's what he was trying to do.
Oh, my goodness. This one is going to floor you. The Daily Mail, which is the United Kingdom. A 4-year-old British boy, dubbed Jihadi Junior, has been filmed detonating the bomb which killed 4 ISIS prisoners in the group's latest execution video. It's the second time the young boy, whose mother took him to Syria 3 years ago, has appeared in one of the extremist propaganda videos. The first video was released about a month ago. The latest video, which is believed to be shot in ISIS's de facto capital of Raqqa, was entitled, "They Are the Enemy, So Be Aware of Them."
The footage shows 5 men in orange jumpsuits confessing to taking money in return for filming and photographing sites within Raqqa, the capital of ISIS's self-declared caliphate. One by one, each man confessed to either spying on or conspiring against ISIS. They were later seen handcuffed to the inside of a battered white car with a look of utter fear in their eyes. Before they are killed, the senior ISIS commander places a hand on the young boy's head as he threatens British Prime Minister David Cameron by saying, "Prepare your army and gather your nations, as we too are preparing our army."
The propaganda video then shows the 4-year-old point to the men in the car and say, "We will kill kuffar, non-believers, over there." The little boy then pushes the button that blows up the 4 alleged spies who are sitting in that white car behind him. At the end of the video, The young boy stands triumphantly next to the charred remains of the car, his hand raised to the sky, and yells, Allahu Akbar.
A member of the Raqqa-based group, which opposes ISIS, told Radio 4 Today program that the victims included shopkeepers and businessmen from the town.
The boy's mother, now 24, was born in London in 1991 of Nigerian descent. Her mother said of her daughter in a BBC TV documentary last April, she loved church. She had a Bible. She read the Bible. She would sit and pray and pray and pray. Grace Dare is believed to have been radicalized online, then began attending the Lushwam Islamic Center. Her mother, Victoria, said she changed her first name to Khadija after she began attending the mosque. I still call her Grace, she said. I want her back in my life. She's the only child that I have, and the devil took her away.
Grace Dare was linked to the killer of Royal Regiment Fullaser Lee Rigby. Rigby was the British Army soldier who in May 2013 was hacked to death in broad daylight on the streets of London. Michael Adebolojo and Michael Adebowale ran him down with a car, then used knives and a cleaver to stab and hack him to death. The men dragged Rigby's body into the road and remained at the scene until police arrived. Like Grace, Adebolojo and Adebolawe are British of Nigerian descent, were raised as Christians and converted to Islam. It's reported that they too attended the Lewisham Islamic Center, although the mosque has denied they were part of the congregation.
Grace's father, Henry Dare, said he had reported her to the police on 3 occasions before she left for Syria, telling them she's behaving in a very funny way. She went to Syria in 2012 and married a Swede known as Abu Bakr. He is now dead. It later emerged that little Issa's father, that is Jihadi Junior, had made a desperate attempt to rescue his son after his estranged wife fled to Syria and married the ISIS militant. In 2014, his mother posted a shocking photograph to her Twitter account of her then 4-year-old son, Issa, which means Jesus, holding an AK-47 rifle. She used social media to gloat about the beheading of American journalist James Foley and said she wanted to be the first British woman to kill an ISIS hostage.
Scotland Yard has revealed that more than 30 UK children have already been made the subject of family court orders over radicalization fears. Judges have considered cases involving 12 different families. Last year, Assistant Commissioner Mark Rowley, the country's most senior terrorism officer, said some children were almost babes in arms, with ages ranging from 2 or 3 up to 16 or 17.
You know, I want you to pay attention to that, because we talk so much about the searing of the conscience and of how, you know, we're forever telling people when it comes to the roots of our faith, please do not take for granted that what you have been taught is right and what we're telling you is wrong. Don't do that, because people believe what they've been taught. And I want you to think about that 4-year-old little boy. What do you think he believes? Being raised that way, he thinks that he's doing the best thing he can for God. He's winning the approval of his mother.
That's why you have to read the Bible yourself.
Absolutely.
That's why you have to read it. You can't just go to church and sit there for an hour and let a pastor or a teacher tell you.
And you can't start in Matthew. You have to
No.
start in Genesis. If
That's
you want to
right.
know what the Bible's really about, you have to start at the beginning.
That's right.
Okay, this next article comes from Israel National News. This one is infuriating. Officials at the World High School of Inquiry in Rochester, New York, spent a week this month fielding dozens of calls from parents angry about a World Hijab Day, event that encouraged girls to wear the Muslim religious head covering. So reports eagnews.org, the flagship website of Education Action Group Foundation, Inc. The Hijab Day was held in the school on the first Friday of this month at the request of a sophomore who wears a hijab every day. The student who initiated the project is originally from Yemen. The principal approved the idea, and teachers brought in 150 scarves for female students to try on and wear for the day. Boys were given carnations to wear in solidarity. Parents were not informed in advance, and many were pretty angry.
Little did the principal realize the backlash that the event would cause. But fear of legal repercussions, of course, had the final say. A school district spokesman said that when officials consulted with an attorney about the World Hijab Day event, they were advised that there would be legal issues if the school said no to the event. The principal, Sheila Webster, was one of those who donned a hijab for the day. She insisted that the event was not religious, but rather cultural and experimental. We're an experimental school. We engage kids in all kinds of activities and projects all the time. So the perspective of being able to learn what a hijab is, why some women choose to wear it, and why some women don't choose to wear it.
A Clarion Project report commented on this point. Unfortunately, learning about why some women don't choose to wear it, or more pointedly, what happens to women in certain Muslim countries and societies who have no choice whether or not to wear it, was not part of the program. Some Muslims have noted that there is a well-financed conservative effort within modern Islam to promulgate the idea that the hijab is a requirement of Islam, even though as recently as 2 or 3 decades ago, in many Islamic societies, it wasn't. It is no longer uncommon to hear of honor killings, both in the West and in Muslim countries, of Muslim women who do not don a hijab.
One offended Rochester school parent commented online on the hijab project, writing, "What lesson will they learn a yarmulke in? Or the Christian cross? Or the Hindu turban? Funny how it always seems to be the Muslims they learn about." Another commentator was more forthright. "How disgusting and irresponsible for any educator to encourage a child to wear a symbol of oppression, whether it be religious or cultural," Rebecca Schulman wrote. Jim Farnholz wrote on his Facebook page, "As a high school teacher for over 30 years, let me say that this is wrong on so many levels. This," he said, "is a clear violation of separation of church and state." Rick Bentley added, "Don't you kids dare wear a shirt with an American flag on it. Someone will be offended."
Yeah.
You know, I love the point that one mom brought up. Okay,
I do
so
too.
so when are they going to wear the yarmulke?
Uh-huh.
When do they get to wear the cross, or maybe even a Hindu turban? It never happens.
It never happens.
But we always have to support Islam. Okay, now this one's really great. This comes from the Jerusalem Post, and it kind of connects to that last article.
Uh-oh.
According to reports by the BBC, a crowdsourcing app has been developed by an anonymous group of Iranian programmers to help youth avoid the Gasht-e-Irshad, or as they are more commonly known as the Irshad, Iran's notorious morality police. The morality police are sent out in small teams throughout the country with no prior warning given to the public. They are entrusted with the task of catching citizens in violation of Iran's Islamic Code of Conduct. The Irshad hold the power to issue warnings against violation of Iran's Islamic law, as well as the ability to force those accused of being in violation to sign a written statement declaring they will never do so again. The morality police can also issue fines and prosecute violators. Offenses include not wearing a hijab, wearing too much makeup, and walking in public with a friend of the opposite sex.
The app, entitled Gershad, allows users to pinpoint on a map where the morality police officers are out on patrol to help those potentially in violation of the Islamic law to avoid the area. The user interface features a map with small cartoon officers dressed in white and brown used to mark the police locations. Users can report a patrol by pinpointing the location on the map, as well as confirm or negate reported positions. Reports that are confirmed several times are pushed to users in the area, suggesting they find a different route or they may have a run-in with the police. Once a specific location stops receiving reports, the officer icon slowly fades from the map.
According to the BBC, the Gurshad creators explain their motives in creating the app as a way to prevent humiliation for the most basic of human rights. Why do we have to be humiliated for our most obvious right, which is the right to wear what we want? Social media networks and websites are full of footage and photos of innocent women who have been beaten up and dragged on the ground by the Irshad patrol agents. The app developers explained on their webpage, according to the report, "We looked for a solution to find a practical way to resist the volume of injustices peacefully with low risk level to restore part of our freedom."
Wow. According to a report by the International Campaign for Human Rights in Iran, police spokesman Saeed Montazer al-Mahdi reported that during the Persian year ending in March 2014, the police obtained 207,053 pledges in writing from norm breakers, that is, women who had not sufficiently observed strict hijab wearing, that they would observe the law. More than 18,000 cases were referred to the judiciary. Warning and guidance was given to 2,917,000 other norm breakers.
The app has become extremely popular with young, more fashion-forward and modern Iranians on social media, reported the BBC, as many users praise the efforts of the Gurshad programmers and their attempts at protecting basic rights. One Twitter user wrote, "I don't really care if the application works or not, but each download is a protest." Others are more concerned for their safety, questioning the level of anonymity and whether or not the person who reports the location of the Irshad can then be traced. According to the Human Rights in Iran report, the app, available only to Android users, had over 1,000 downloads within just a few hours of its release, and new coding was being added to increase user security.
That is totally amazing.
Yes, it is.
It is.
They find them, they'll kill them.
They will.
No, actually, they'll do what they did to our guys. Just torture them for a few years and then kill them.
Torture them to death.
This is why America must be educated on what's going on.
That's right.
Because that hijab that they're promoting in schools, this way of life, it's not freedom, folks.
I bet those kids didn't get to read that article.
No, probably not. Probably not. I don't think we have
Okay.
time to do that next one.
I don't think so either.
But we can skip down to the very last one. Security forces thwarted an attempted terror attack at Damascus Gate in Jerusalem's Old City on Monday after a 15-year-old Arab girl attempted to stab a security guard, according to police. Police at the scene had asked the suspect to identify herself when she reached into her pocket and retrieved a large knife. Security forces responded quickly and apprehended and disarmed the suspect. No Israeli security forces were wounded in the incident. During the search of her belongings, authorities found an additional knife. The minor has been identified as a resident of East Jerusalem. Monday's incident came on the heels of another attack near the Damascus Gate, which happened late Sunday night. Police spokesman Mickey Rosenfeld told the Jerusalem Post that the two unidentified terrorists opened fire using automatic weapons before border police in the area opened fire, killing both of them.
Wow. Well, hope you've been praying for the peace
So
of
the
Jerusalem.
police weren't hurt in that. The security forces
Right.
were not hurt.
Right.
And it's, what is that, 4 attacks at the Damascus Gate now in 1 week.
I think that no Israelis were killed because you've been praying for the peace of Jerusalem. Thank you for doing that. Keep it up. God bless you. We'll see you again Wednesday.